My name is Pam Bolin, and this is my project, Creating Innovative Uses of Technology. I have two lessons that I have created. The idea that I used on both of these lessons were creativity. Um, I noticed from researching that the projects that seemed to interest me more were ones where the students had an opportunity to be creative. So I researched creativity and learning and found out that creativity uh, gives some motivation to students. It gives students choices. It allows them to adapt the experience to their own style. It relates the material to their own life. It allows them to express individuality, and it gives them a chance to dream it and create it, which all in all, these things tend to motivate um, students to learn. So I've created two lessons, and I chose two apps that had a lot of creativity along with a lot of learning. One was Geography Drive USA, and the other was Fizmajig. So the goal here was to teach a large amount of subject matter and keeping it creative, interesting, and fun. The first one, Geography Drive USA, I can kind of show you what that app is all about.
Welcome to Geography Drive, the fast-paced cross-country geography learning adventure. Go where you want to go in a challenging game with tons of questions to answer, cool trophies to win, and awesome bonus games that test your knowledge of state shapes, capitals, and more. Low on gas? Top off your tank and earn cash by answering fun fuel station questions like these. Where is the Pacific Mountain System? Where is the island of Lanai? And that's just the beginning, because in Geography Drive, there are planes to catch, cheese wedges to deliver, and all sorts of things to collect and customize in your personal garage.
So just want to give you an idea of what that is. So using this app, I created a lesson, and this was a blended classroom lesson centered around the app Geography Drive USA. And I designed this to be a comprehensive unit, so encompassing all the subjects that these students would be going to during their day. And I figured fit the sixth graders, maybe fourth, depending on how it was structured. So I created a Weebly page, so website, class website, so the students would be guided through the unit. And I just put this in here. It's only going to go to where you buy the Geography Drive app, but just that would be their link. And we'll go back to their unit. And then what we have over here is the different subjects. So for social studies, they would be learning everything as far as geographical regions and features, bodies of water, famous routes, major cities, and time zones, which are all things that are reinforced in the Google Drive app. So the things they would be learning in social studies would come from and be reinforced by their time using Geography Drive USA. For math class, they would talk about going on a trip requires time and money. So they would learn how to estimate the time and cost of their journey. So they talk about figuring out MPG and estimated time of arrival. How long is it going to take you to go on your trip? How much money is it going to cost you? They could even factor in restaurants, hotels, depending on how deep you wanted to get into that. Get kind of a budget. We have science. So in Geography Drive, a lot of the questions as you go to different states might talk about what their resources are. So that could be something they're learning along the way. Reinforce that in science class. Where does coal come from? Where does different things like that, so they know what regions kind of give them the big picture there. For language arts, this is where you document your travel experiences, which could be a journal. It could be, maybe each student could have a blog on this page. Health and nutrition. Most travel plans include eating out. Is it possible to eat healthy while on the road? So for this unit, they would do what is typically done in a health and nutrition class, where 24-hour diet, whatever you've eaten in the last 24 hours, is recorded, analyzed, and where they could do this with places they ate out. Say they're going to go to Taco Bell, then go online to the website and find out what the nutritional information is on their meal and figure that out for the day with different places they'd be stopping and eating, and maybe find out what would be some better choices when you are on the road eating out. And that's one of those ones that would be useful, something they could relate to. For art class, I put each state in the U.S. has its own flag, so this could be something they do in, I don't know, different things they could do in Photoshop with pictures. They could create something in a drawing application, or even hands-on. This could be part of the in-class time where they actually make something, maybe different flags that could be put up around the room. So that's kind of run down here. I put final project, where it all comes together. So all these different things they've learned, they could present. This would be a great time for them to work in a group and present a final project explaining their whole trip that they've planned out, and everything from cost to where they would eat, different things like that, where they would travel to, how much money they'd have left for doing other things after they've paid for the gas and the lodging, and just depending on how in depth you wanted to get with that. So we'll go back to, that was the unit here. So now the instructional strategies that were involved with this were practice. They learn things in class and get to practice it on Geography Drive. There's non-linguistic representations, cooperative learning when they work in groups, cues, questions, and advanced organizers, summarizing, setting objectives, and providing feedback, which this app is very good at providing positive reinforcement, which is up here, reinforcing effort and providing recognition. So the advantages are Geography Drive USA is a creative, fun, relatively inexpensive app used to reinforce learning and motivate students. Rethinking and reconnecting, where they integrate the subjects of the project throughout all, helps with, enhances learning, and also allowing them to learn a large amount of material, but it's divided up into small parts. Then they tie it all together at the end. There are some disadvantages, that the fact that there is a cost involved, and probably the biggest disadvantage is that the app is only available for Apple products and Nook at this time. The project itself requires internet access. The app doesn't. Once it's downloaded, they can do that anywhere, but as far as the rest of the project would require internet access. So for this, one device per student would be recommended. The other disadvantage here may be that the lesson may not align with curriculum requirements. So some of the things may not be something that was required at that age and time and grade and class for them to learn, but it could be tailored to make it fit. So some possibilities there. Lesson number 2 was another app used to create a lesson, kind of centered around an app. This one's called Physmajig, and I'll just play a little bit of that one so you can get an idea of what that is.
Physmajig is an app for Windows 8 that allows us to easily create 2D physics games and animations. Let's begin by selecting Add a New Creation, and the default tool when we enter this screen is the pencil. Let's use that to draw out a simple truck body. And notice that the objects we draw are immediately translated into a physics object which we can manipulate. Let's add a couple of tires for our truck by switching to the circle tool, and we'll switch the fill color to a dark gray, and let's draw those out, 1 and 2 tires. And let's pause the simulation, and there are times when you might want to add more detail to these simple boundary shapes. And to do that, we can first zoom in by using the zoom pan tool. And if you have a mouse, you can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and to pan around. Or if you're on a multi-touch screen, you can use that texture object. Let's pause the simulation again, and I'm just going to create a little rock here, and I'll switch my fill color to concrete, and I'm going to click out a rock. And let's add some interactivity so that when the truck tire hits the rock, it'll blow up. And to do that, we can go to the minigame menu and select Setup. This panel shows you the triggers, which are events that occur within your game, and the behaviors, which are things that happen because of those events. So in this case, I want to set up a collision trigger. So I'll select Trigger, and we'll go to, and these other settings we can ignore for now. We're going to save that trigger setting. And now that we have the event, let's create what happens, or the behavior. We'll select Behavior, and I want to do a Destroy Object behavior. In this case, first we must save our creation here. Truck hits rock. Save that, and now let's play the game. And let's see what happens when the truck hits the rock. Alright, so you can see the wheel exploded.
So as you can see, a lot of creativity there with that one. So using that creativity, I designed a 4-week lesson, learning Newton's law, 3 laws of motion. So the app would be used to reinforce what's being learned and to allow for experimentation. You could learn a law, then go and create it, see what happens. Same thing as the other lesson, I would create a Class Weebly site explaining what they need to learn about Newton's 3 laws. And maybe put a science fair page where students could come up with, and this would be great where they could work in groups, come up with a science project that displays one of the 3 laws, post it there. Could even make that more of a competition, have it judged. And a discussion board for questions, replies, things like that. So the advantages with this one is that Fizmajig is a free app, and it gives the opportunity for creative learning. The Science Fair project provides collaborative learning. The main disadvantage would be that there's no version of Fizmajig for Mac, so kind of the opposite of the other one, but that might be a disadvantage. So again, just another way to take that creativity and create a lesson so they can stem from that, use that as a basis and learn. So using either of these lessons with the surrounded around or focusing on these apps can aid learning in the following ways: keeping the student's interest, being visual and interactive, connecting new concepts to real life, allowing for collaborative learning, and providing positive reinforcement. It also tends to summarize what's been learned. They may learn it in class, and then when using the apps, it's going to help summarize what they've learned. So that is my 2 lessons, and centered on the idea of adding creativity to learning. Thank you.